everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Control Card podcast here with Phantom Sports Industries. My name is Jayden Simmons. I'm here with Max. We're here with Dacota and Shane, and we're here to talk Wrestlemania. Man, it's been a wild few weeks on this build-up to WrestleMania. Of course, like as of last night on SmackDown, we have already 10 confirmed matches for the grandest stage of them all. And Max, what are you thinking about the road to WrestleMania so far?
It's as amazing as I'd hoped it would be. I don't really have any complaints about the matches that are in place right now. And I figured going into even the Royal Rumble and even back in 2023 that this WrestleMania would be, at least on paper, one of the best of all time. So many matches confirmed. There's a double header of sorts with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, which I didn't even think they'd do, but they're having Roman work twice in as many days, which is just about unheard of at this point in time. But great stuff across the board. We'll get into more of that later.
For sure. And I mean, Dacota, Shane, y'all been following. What's been some of your favorite narratives on this road to WrestleMania so far?
Shane, go ahead.
So, some of my favorite. I mean, there's so many. I loved both Elimination Chamber matches. They were awesome. I loved the WrestleMania kickoff show. I don't think there's one moment where I've been like, oh man, that should have been done better. Actually, there's one specific thing that I would say overall for all the matches that have been confirmed so far. One complaint is they could have confirmed. I feel like they could have confirmed or built the Jimmy J match in a much cooler fashion than just having him call out Jimmy on SmackDown and then accept the match on Raw. I feel like they should have had some sort of interaction at some point with Jimmy going to Raw so many times and costing Jay so many matches. You should have had Jay come to SmackDown one night and just – I think it would have been perfect to have Jay there the night that Cody and Seth were there and have had that kind of interaction. They could have had like a backstage thing or something. But I think that would have been a really good time. And then just building the match in person. Not building. Confirming the match, I guess, in person. But I love how they did it. It was cool. The promos were good. So I'm not upset about it. That's just the only thing I guess personally I would have changed so far.
I like how they're intertwining the stories with the World Heavyweight Championships myself. The one thing I don't like about it, though, is that they're making the World Heavyweight Championship seem like the second belt after they've built so much prestige for it in the past year. But I mean, it kind of is at the same time. So, but it just sucks. They built so much prestige. Seth Rollins is doing a fantastic job battling, even on the mid cards, like the weekly shows, not just the televised ones. But yeah, my favorite story obviously is the Cody Rhodes, The Rock one. I think that'll probably end up leading to a one-on-one match between the two at possibly SummerSlam or somewhere down the road. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I love where this saga is going. Having The Rock on weekly television is already special, but the one thing that I do wish was a little bit different in this build-up is I feel like we're not getting enough Roman Reigns. And I mean, it's easy to fall in the background when you have one of the best to ever do it on the mic in The Rock on weekly television, but it just, like you said, Dacota, it feels more like a Cody Rhodes versus The Rock ordeal than it does of Cody versus Roman. And I mean, for Roman to be a champion closing in on 1,300 days, he should kind of feel like a bigger deal before his 8th WrestleMania main event, but maybe that'll be a point of confliction later.
I think what's happening is, and I'll get into this later, but I think The Rock is having all these appearances, which, by the way, The Rock appearing on SmackDown weekly in the year of our Lord 2024 is something I didn't have on my bingo card. But The Rock making all of these appearances, saying all of these outlandish things, not just on SmackDown, but on his social media and whatnot, is going to make Roman Reigns a little bit upset that The Rock kind of just made SmackDown into his show instead of Roman Reigns' show, which is what he's been accustomed to for so long. And I think in the next couple of weeks leading into WrestleMania, I think they're going to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And, another story that I think that honestly has the appeal of the Bloodline story, but it's kind of cooled down in recent weeks. It's the Bayley and Damage Control story. It was, after the Royal Rumble, it was something that I was saying I felt should have main evented night one. And of course, plans have changed. When you have The Rock here, you can't not give him the main event. But I really like the continued drama with Bayley and Damage Control, especially with Dakota Kai returning in ring and turning on Bayley. And we're also following that trope of Bayley not really having any locker room support, kind of similar to Jey Uso when he came over to Monday Night Raw. And I love the continuity there with Hunter and booking recently turned faces to not really have that same support. But I'm very interested to see like the thread of how it ties into WrestleMania, not just with Bayley and Io Sky, but seeing, maybe Naomi teams up with someone to take on the Kabuki Warriors. I think there's a lot of untapped potential that they still have in the next 2 to 3 weeks to build that up.
Well, just last night, on SmackDown, we saw Naomi come to the support of Bayley. But let's be honest, I think I saw that turn of Dakota Kai coming. She has a history for it.
Yeah, she does. And I saw it coming. I was sad about it though. I was like, dang. Like I really kind of wished that she really did like switch and team up with Bayley. But it's great for the story. It's building up that against the odds type of feel for the whole match, the feud. So I wasn't upset about it, but it was just kind of like a dang. That would have been kind of nice.
What this is reminding us of more than anything is that Bayley can still be a really, really good and captivating face. As much as she's been a heel all this time, for how long she's been a heel at times, she can still be a really, really good face that can get the crowd to rally around her. And it's just a testament to what she's able to do. I feel like even though she's going to compete for one of the top 2 women's titles in the company, it still feels like people really underrate and give her less credit for her abilities than she deserves. So this, I feel like, has been a great reminder of the extent of Bayley's just pure talent.
Yeah, for sure. And especially to that point, like I'm really happy that Bayley is finally getting this shot at WrestleMania, because it's always felt like she was kind of the forgotten horsewoman, distantly behind Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. And, like Max said, she was extremely over as a babyface. And her heel run, it's had its ups and downs, but in the ring, Bayley has never been a slouch and has never taken in anything like any steps back. So, I'm hoping that she gets her crowning moment at WrestleMania. Still kind of too early to tell. I feel like a lot of these matches are still, 50-50. Doesn't really feel like anyone's an obvious winner, but I really do hope that Bayley gets that crowning moment so she can get the respect that she's deserved for a long time.
I'm really hopeful that she wins it, and you have to know for feuds like that that involve factions and things. There's gonna be some outside involvement, and it's just a matter of if Bayley over the next few weeks can get any more people to turn on her side and help her. The only reason Naomi did it is because she hasn't experienced anything that Damage Control did to that locker room, and so it's going to be, like you said, the Jey Uso situation where he's got no support. He's got to build it, and he's got to build it fast. Same thing for Bayley. She's got to build it, and she's got to build it fast.
Well, Naomi has also been in the situation where Bayley is right now, where she's had a team turn on her before. So that's partly the reason why she was quick to come to the support of Bayley. And I think that her doing so will get Bianca Belair to do so, because we all know how close of friends those two are. And then with Bianca being a leader in the women's locker room, some others will come to the aid of Bayley as well.
For sure. And we mentioned this in this Phantom Slack earlier, over the past 2 days, but I do want to get you guys' thoughts on the 6-pack tag team ladder match that has been confirmed to be on WrestleMania, and kind of what teams you'd like to see make that match, and really who you think is most deserving of winning.
Yeah, Dacota and I, we kind of went back and forth for a bit, got a little intense for a minute, but it was all love. Yeah, exactly. Dacota, I'll let you start off on this one, because I want you to give your thing first, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so I saw somewhere, a rumor about the Hardy Boys possibly returning, and while I would love for it to happen, you guys also changed my mind at the same time.
There we go. Thank you.
Probably not likely, but at the same time, it's like if they did it, it would be all love for them, kind of like a retirement match at the same time, just because they created their name in a ladder match. What better way to send them out than in a ladder match at the same time? But like I said, you guys changed my mind. Probably not likely. So honestly, kind of up in the air for me, like which teams obviously deserve it. You've got DIY, you've got the Miz, R-Truth, Judgment Day is obviously in there. New Catch Republic is probably going to be in there since they were the last team to face the Judgment Day. And then you've got probably Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. And then I don't even know who that 6th team is going to be. Well, I guess we already know it, Legado del Fantasma at the moment. But I also think that could change, and they could do an LWO versus Legado del Fantasma match at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So then that 6th team would be a wild card.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you finally came to your common senses and realized that having the Hardy Boys in this match is not only not very appealing, it's also not very safe. And it would be cool, but also having them return into a big tag team match at WrestleMania, they've already done that also. So it would be a rinsed and repeated return. And then you just add on to the fact that they are nowhere near what they used to be, especially during ladder matches and things like that. It's just not. It wouldn't be fun watching it. I'd just be scared the whole time. For them, for the other members, and so I get the sentiment of it, but it logically makes no sense. And as far as for who I think would be in it, obviously you got Damian and Finn. I think Awesome Truth has to be in there with how they've been feuding with doing the R-Truth thing. I think it'd be fun to see the Street Profits in there. I'm not quite sure if they'll be in or not, because of what's going on in their own world. Obviously, probably going to have New Catch Republic in there. And then you just kind of get down to tag teams that you want to see get promoted. I think Creed Brothers will be in. I think Imperium's got a shot. I think it would be kind of cool, interesting, not cool, but interesting if you find a way to get Dom and JD in there just to Judgment Day. This is Judgment Day's match, because I have a feeling that they're going to drop the titles, and so just putting all of the Judgment Day members in there, obviously besides Rhea, would be kind of comical and ironic, and also just make that loss seem even more just big for the Judgment Day if all 4 members are in there. It would also be really funny if Dom and JD won it from Damian and Finn, and it's a whole. That'd be fun to see the aftermath of that. But I'm probably forgetting a couple of legit tag teams that should be in there, but I can't. Those ones are the ones that came to mind, basically.
I'm looking at the qualifier matches that are scheduled, and there are some that are really obvious who's gonna win, and then there's DIY versus the Creed Brothers, which I feel like is just a complete shame that one of those teams won't be in that ladder match at WrestleMania. That might be the best match of the whole qualifier series. But New Day, Alpha Academy, it feels pretty obvious that New Day is going to win. Alpha Academy's kind of been stuck in the lower part of the card. Awesome Truth feels like a shoe-in as well. They're fighting Indus although it would be funny if Indus won. But and by the way, in the perfect world, R-Truth is a member of the Judgment Day right now, but that's a discussion for another time. And then the 2 other qualifiers before there's a final are Street Profits versus AOP, so that's good that they're gonna have their feud settled. And then OC versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which I feel like Theory and Waller will win to try and balance out the faces and heels, and also build for a potential Austin Theory face turn, because they've been slow burning that for a while. But it's really interesting to see how some of these matchups feel very one-sided, and others you just really don't know who can win. And one thing that I talked with you guys about, and I know I'm going on a little bit here, but I talked with you guys about how this tag team division doesn't have a true star team to it, although I'd keep my eye on the Creed Brothers because athletically they're amazing. If they can get some work done on their promo work, then they might be dynamo in them a little bit. But there are a lot of really good tag teams that I would be perfectly fine with having the tag team championship. And I don't think there's really a bad outcome.
Yeah. Hearing those matches that you just read off, I am 110% in on the Street Profits being in the match at WrestleMania. My only question mark was if they had to face AOP, and if they're facing AOP off the gate in the qualifiers, I think that they should be in the match, because you have to have, for a ladder match, especially a 6-pack tag team ladder match, you have to have some high flyers in that match. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've got Finn. It'd be cool if Legado del Fantasma gets in, because they're pretty high. They're pretty good high flyers. But outside of like Ricochet and Logan Paul, I think the best high flyer in WWE right now is Montez Ford, and you gotta put him in. I remember when I started watching again, they were talking about how he needs to have a singles run, and so I think he needs to be in that match on that show.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of the names that have been thrown out there. I think that it will be, since it's a 6-pack, we'll have 3 Raw, 3 SmackDown. I'm going to put my trust in the Creed Brothers to beat DIY just because of the athleticism carrying them. But I can definitely see DIY taking it because of, their relationship with Triple H, and then also just getting like Shane said, getting a couple of high flyers in the match with Gargano and Ciampa. But if we go the DIY route, I think we got Awesome Truth, Judgment Day, and DIY from Raw, and then I'm gonna go with New Catch Republic, Street Profits, and A-Town Down Under from SmackDown. And I really think that I have a lot of faith in A-Town Down Under for this match specifically. I've been a fan of Austin Theory for a long time just because of his in-ring ability, and I've been saying for a while that he's been kind of mismanaged in his heel run, and that he really is a natural babyface, and is really, like, if you watch his NXT days, like, he was hilarious on the mic when they gave him a chance, and I feel like getting on this stage, being able to like be in a high profile match, and who knows, maybe even nearly getting the victory for them, and then Grayson cost them the match, could kind of lead to that sort of thing. So I'd love to see the potential there, but I hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see a kind of split of the titles in a two people grab the titles type ending.
I was gonna say, are we gonna at the end, are we gonna run through the matches and just give our predictions, or are we doing that kind of throughout?
What you think, Max?
Because
I wanted,
however,
because I have a specific feeling of how I want that match to end. And it has to do with splitting the tag titles. And I'm not going to take credit for it. I saw it online. If you are watching this episode and you are the one that posted this idea, please message me so that I can give you the credit. But having Truth go up and take only one set of the titles down and that's how you split it, would be hilarious, beyond hilarious, and just beyond perfect for just like the character that is R-Truth and the situation. Everyone's begging for them to split the titles. You can't set up a better way to do it. And so I think that would be hilarious and awesome and a perfect way to split the titles. As for who gets the other titles, I don't care. I've seen Street Profits because it'll help bolster that faction. I've seen it has to be a SmackDown team because if they're going to split it brand by brand, you got to have Truth take the Raw ones, and then one of the SmackDown teams take the SmackDown ones. So, but I just think that would be hilarious.
R-Truth is the only person in wrestling that maybe isn't named Danhausen that can get away with doing that and not look like a complete idiot for doing so. Like, who else but R-Truth would enter 21 or enter in the same position in both the women's and men's Royal Rumble? No other character in like all of wrestling would be able to do that and have it make even remote sense for their character. Like, R-Truth is so just incredible. I don't know the exact words I can use to describe R-Truth as a character, but he's R-Truth.
Yeah, I saw a quote from him the other day that he was like, I am more over now than I ever have in my career, and he's loving it, embracing it, enjoying it. He's like, that injury sucked, but it proved to be worth it because I am way more over now than I ever was, and it's awesome.
For sure. And one other idea of a match that I wanted to run by you guys before we get into the meat and potatoes here is I believe it was Bronson Reed on Twitter who had tweeted an idea of having what he called the Big E Invitational of the big meaty men in the wrestling universe right now, to have some sort of multi-man match at WrestleMania. And I've been discussing it with my friends. If we could see Bronson Reed, Ivar, I'm missing somebody as well.
Otis.
Otis. You can have Bronson Reed, Ivar, Otis, and then potentially Braun Breaker in there to give him like a breakout sort of major win at WrestleMania to kind of like establish his character. I think that would be a great idea.
I've talked about this before, but I think that's one of those matches where that would go on the go home SmackDown before WrestleMania. the WrestleMania, like the build to WrestleMania is genuinely so stacked that you could put some like matches on the Go Home SmackDown and like advertise them as blow-offs to the respective feuds, and I would totally be there for it. It would make enough sense. Like you could advertise Friday Night SmackDown the night before WrestleMania as a night zero kind of ordeal where you have the Andre Memorial Battle Royal. You have some other blow-offs, maybe LWO versus Legado del Fantasma, other feuds that WWE might not know what to do with in terms of WrestleMania weekend. They could probably just put it on the SmackDown before, and it'll still go crazy.
For sure. Dakota, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just saying we have to, at some point in the next couple of weeks, have a returning Big E as well, and he could be thrown into that match.
Yeah. Man, I know everyone's waiting for Big E to return, and it's just like, I think that's kind of why a New Day hasn't felt like complete in the last year, and I've almost like kind of felt like they're running their course because it's like Big E is just such a big factor with them. And I know that like you're holding back so he can get that love, but even having Big E there as a manager would have been like it would have created such a different aura around the New Day.
Maybe it becomes a situation where the New Day gets into the tag match at Mania and Big E comes out with him as a manager or something.
That'd be huge.
Or it could even be like Xavier gets hurt by an upset Imperium or something, like the Friday Night SmackDown, and you just are like, what's going to happen? They don't make an announcement about it or anything. They just show, say, Xavier Woods or Kofi, whichever one, getting hurt at the hands of someone. I might get their latest feud was Imperium, that's why I threw that out. But then there's just radio silence from WWE about it, and then the match comes on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is, and out comes Big E with Kofi or Big E with Xavier Woods. Just a complete surprise. Like, that would be awesome.
For sure. Well, the main event of WrestleMania has already been determined. Kind of a co-main event, really. As we all know, Cody Rhodes has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles and has earned and given up and then re-earned the opportunity to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And, The Rock is inserted his name into that title picture. He unsuccessfully was not able to challenge for the title, but as of last Friday, officially, it will be on night one in the main event, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns and The Rock in a tag team match to determine the stipulation of the big main event. So first, before we get into anything, thoughts on this finally being official?
I think it's awesome. I think it was awesome how they accepted, how they announced the match. It would have been cool if there would have been a little bit of a fight or something. Like they're out, like Roman and Rock are out there, just talking smack like they were, and then Cody and Seth come out, and instead of like slowly and nonchalantly, they kind of sneak out, or they kind of do something, and they just kind of hit them from behind and accept, or they have that promo that they had earlier in the night, but they don't accept. It like ends. They like get in a brawl right before they give their answer or whatever, and then later in the night, Seth and Cody are seen attacking Solo and Jimmy or something like that, and then they look in the camera or they get on the mic and they're like, "We accept your match. We're coming for you," or something. But it was awesome. I love how they've built it. I'm excited that it's actually happening. Rumor was that it was, once it was pitched, Rock was behind it 100%, and that really full dived him into the heel version, which, by the way, his entrance is
It's so fire, man.
oh my gosh, bro. It is the lightning, the new song, like the Hollywood song. Oh my gosh, it is sexy. Anyways, the angle of the camera when it starts. I can't. I'll go on and on. But I think it's been built beautifully. It's been awesome. I'm so excited for it.
To refute your point about the Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins entrance that last Friday?
Mhm.
It just made sense to have them enter that way because that's what the Shield would do. And if you remember a couple of weeks back, Seth Rollins told Cody Rhodes that he was going to be his Shield.
Mhm.
So it just made sense to have them enter that nonchalant way.
And let me pitch this to you then. At that point, why don't you have Jay come out with them? So there's 3 of them.
I don't think you're there yet.
We are there. We're already there. It took them an extra week.
I think it's going to happen at WrestleMania with night 2 after Seth is done with his match, obviously. And I'll talk about that more once we get to that.
It feels like this match was one of those matches that happens in universe mode when you sim it for far too long. Like it just randomly pairs up for like all timers in a tag team match to open off the night. But in this instance, I'm not really complaining about it as opposed to other times where it would just feel really random. The spirit of Teddy Long still definitely runs about the WWE creative team because they should have just had him come out there and say, the 2 of you will take on the 2 of you in a tag team match, playa.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a really fun match. I feel like it gives off in a way vibes of the Usos versus Roman and Solo, but there are some differences too. Like The Rock and Roman, there's still a relatively random pairing, even though there is history. They don't have that like true tag team history. Whereas Cody and Seth are the definition of a ragtag group of heroes who have been tasked with defeating the great evil. And the time old question of can they coexist will be ever present in the main event of night 1.
For sure. And so what we're doing here today is we're bringing back our second edition of Fantasy Booking, me versus Max, of how we would book this WrestleMania tag team match. Max, would you like to start off or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first.
So we're booking. This is just a booking of the tag team match. Sorry, I might have misunderstood.
I booked the tag team match and Cody versus Roman.
Okay. Is that what you did too, Jayden?
Okay, cool.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if it was like the full Mania card or if it was just the match or whatever. Okay, got it. We're there.
Well, we're going to start with a tag team match to main event night 1. The night before, Rock and Cody are having an intense promo battle, but The Rock manages to get under Cody Rhodes' skin and gets him to agree to make the tag match a tornado tag match. Cody and Seth will enter separately as they still have their differences. They can't really bring themselves to be on the same page. They enter however they want, but the Bloodline's been sowing seeds of doubt, and Cody and Seth, obviously deep down, still resent each other. Rock and Roman then enter after Cody and Seth. Then the two basically have a competition to see who can have the longer entrance. I promise you, those two's entrances will combine for at minimum 10 minutes. The Bloodline end up surging ahead early, but with Seth Rollins down and out, Cody Rhodes recognizes he's got a power up, and so he eats his vegetables, what have you, he eats his spinach, kicks out of a spear, then he hits both Rock and Roman with a crossroads, covers Roman, but Roman kicks out. He's not going down to one crossroads, be real. It ends up turning into a back and forth affair. Everybody gets to kick out of a finisher. You can mix and match, so Rock can at least look good and not go down to one finisher. Cody and Rock, though, start squaring off, and they get so into it, they take not only each other, but the ref out. So it's Roman versus Seth. Seth begins playing mind games because he knows that Roman has never beaten him via pinfall or submission. Last time those two squared off in one-on-one competition, Roman got way too into the match and DQ'd himself. He still retained the title, but Seth still won. Seth begins playing mind games again, but Roman knows this time him getting disqualified will have consequences down the line. He does not want it to be a match without bloodline interference. The two start talking to each other, but with the ref down, Solo Sikoa emerges to ruin another fun main event. Spike, spear, the cover, the pin, but Cody Rhodes is able to make the save at the last second. He's able to take out Solo Sikoa, but in turn is hit by a spear by Reigns. So Roman's tired, and all four guys are down. We have a quadruple down in the main event of WrestleMania. Seth's starting to get up kind of slow, even though he hasn't really taken too much damage in comparison to Cody. Cody's been getting a lot of the heat. Cody gets hit with a rock bottom, but Roman Reigns, he does not want The Rock to be the one to pin Cody Rhodes. He props Cody back up and then spears him out of his shoes. But, oh, look at this. Seth Rollins is starting to get back up. It looks like he's ready to make the save, but he doesn't. Cover, pin, the win by Roman Reigns. But not long after the match ends, Seth immediately curb stomps Roman Reigns and hits The Rock with a pedigree. Seth Rollins, his ego has gotten the better of him, and he has to stand tall regardless. The Rock's also annoyed that Roman stole his moment from him. Seth Rollins was not Cody Rhodes' shield. End of night one. Now on to the match. There's another agreement that's made on the Go Home SmackDown. Should the Bloodline win, which they did, they get their choice of referee. And who's the special guest referee? If you smell, it's The Rock. He enters in a limo to his Hollywood theme and takes perhaps double the time he took in the tag team match. Cody's going to get a hero's welcome, not just from the fans when he enters, but all of the face wrestlers who line up outside the locker room. They're going to cheer him on. You can do it, Cody Rhodes. You got this. He enters along with his wife, Brandy, dog, Pharaoh, Make-A-Wish kids. This just to hammer home, Cody Rhodes is a really good guy. You guys understand that? Cody Rhodes, great guy, stand-up citizen. Roman then enters and also decides to take an eternity to get to the ring. But for me to describe how this match goes blow for blow would be a disservice to the ability that Cody and Roman have and the faith that I would put in them to just put on a 30 to 40 minute match with no disqualifications, all of that. Just let them cook. They just beat the hell out of each other for 40 minutes. Chairs, kendo sticks, tables, you name it, all broken. We're in Philadelphia, and the spirit of ECW is alive and well. Eventually, Roman lines up Cody for a spear, but Cody dodges and another ref bump. Down goes The Rock. Suddenly, wrestlers begin appearing at the entrance ramp. Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Rey Mysterio, even Drew McIntyre. They're all ready to go, but they got one more ace up their sleeve. John Cena appears as well. The Avengers have assembled. They're all pissed off at Roman for all that he's done for the past 4 years. They are ready to end the bloodline once and for all. They take out Solo and Jimmy with unbelievable ease, and even they take Paul Heyman out. They drag him out of the arena, and he's kicking and screaming, can't get to his cell phones and get the emergency plans in. And with Roman only finally starting to come to his senses and Rock still out, they're getting their finishers in. Pedigree to Roman, Haluva kick to Roman, stunner, super kick, BFT, a 619, a Claymore, an attitude adjustment, and finally Cody Rhodes will hit Roman Reigns with a crossroads. Everybody stands around the ring to make sure nobody can get in. Rock wakes up and counts. 1, 2, Roman does not kick out. Cody Rhodes has finished the story. But a new one will begin the night after, as Seth Rollins, who just lost to Drew McIntyre, will look like he's going to thank Cody Rhodes, but low blows him. A new chapter begins in the book of Cody Rhodes.
I'll give it to you. No, not my guy Seth with the heel turn. Man.
Dang.
WWE's been on its hater arc for a while now. I think Seth's going to cave in.
Well, I think one of your two champs has to be a heel, and so having them flip would be like at the same event would be perfect. So because I mean, Cody's not gonna be able to be a heel champ, at least for until later in his reign when people start getting tired of him. And so Seth,
if he didn't turn heel in AEW,
yeah, Seth has all the capability. Seth as a heel is probably his best form, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The Authority Seth was probably the best Seth that we saw. Outside of this Seth, I will say this Visionary Seth is awesome. That was awesome. I loved it. I like how you incorporated all the Avengers assembling and taking down the Thanos of WWE, and that's good. That's good.
Yeah, Dakota, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like how you incorporated everybody. I mean, I've seen that elsewhere as well. Especially
that's a copycat answer, Dakota.
I wasn't even done yet.
I'm just saying you copied my answer basically.
But no, especially with how things have turned out with the Bloodline interfering with pretty much everybody's matches, it just makes sense to have multiple superstars, take out the Bloodline, take out Roman Reigns, and then, have Cody finish the story. But especially also with John Cena announcing that he's open during that time, it just makes sense to have him there, and help with that, especially with, Cody Rhodes being the next big baby face of the WWE since John Cena. But yeah, I really liked it. Excited to see what Jayden has in store.
Yeah. Like I said, I only did the tag match, so I didn't do the follow-up, mainly because I still don't know who is going to win that match. Like it's still up in the air for me, but shout out to Max. You set the bar very, very high. I'm going to try my best to follow up. So, much like Max, I have all 4 superstars entering to their own music, everyone getting a bigger pop than the last, of course, with Seth and Cody especially getting momentous ovations on the way to the ring. And so to start out the match, I do have them doing the traditional tag team match. To start out, I do have Seth and Roman Reigns squaring off. And, both of them are kind of embracing in the moment. Of course, Seth is kind of the modern day Mr. WrestleMania, always putting on a show there. And of course, Roman Reigns, like we said earlier, he's been in 8 WrestleMania main events now. This is familiar territory for him. And so, as Roman is trying to get everyone to acknowledge the tribal chief, he gets angry because everyone is singing the song of Seth Rollins. He has them in the palm of their hands, and Roman can't stand that. Roman has always had that hatred for Seth since he broke up the Shield. And so not only is he upset by the disrespect of the fans, he views it as disrespect of his own character. And so he immediately takes the fight to Seth Rollins, clubs him with some knee strikes, overhand fists, and eventually throws him into the corner with The Rock. And The Rock comes into a huge pop, and they begin a 2-on-1 assault on Seth Rollins. Of course, Roman's going to do the brunt of the work here. Rock is a bit past his prime, so we're not going to make him do too much. But Seth is going to get hit with a spine buster, and The Rock is going to get a huge ovation. He's taken in the moment. He's full Hollywood here. and he takes his eye off Seth Rollins to go face to face with Cody Rhodes, who's waiting on the apron. This whole feud has been about them to this point. So, of course, they're going to exchange some words. Cody's going to say something to Rock. Rock going to say something to Cody. Rock is going to feign like he's turning his attention back to the ring, and then sucker punches Cody off of the apron. But Seth is going to take that distraction as a chance to rally. Couple punches, a sling blade, and eventually hits a Falcon Arrow on the Rock and falls to the mat. Both men are down. We get the typical ring crawl, corner, hot tag to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Preview of tomorrow night. Cody hits the ring, all gas. Flurry of punches, some clotheslines. Does an ode to his father with a bionic elbow. He's absolutely rolling. Looks to set up the Cody cutter. He goes up to the ropes to the springboard, but he gets shoved off by The Rock and runs into a Superman punch. Roman stumbles into the corner. He's obviously dazed. Still has that energy. He has just hit a Superman punch, so he's looking to set up the spear and finish it. But none other than The Rock tags himself in. Roman gives him a look of confusion. But, hey, it's The Rock. You got to trust him. Rock comes in, feeding off of Roman's momentum, hits Cody with another spine buster, then sets up in the middle of the ring for the people's elbow. He poses for the crowd, bounces off the ropes, hops over Cody, but then is met with a vintage springboard knee from Seth Rollins. Then the gloves are off. Everyone hits the ring. Everyone's fighting each other. Roman hits Seth with a Samoan drop, but Cody hits him with a Cody cutter. Rock goes for a clothesline on Cody. Cody ducks, and The Rock takes out the ref. But then Cody hits a Cody cutter on The Rock. Goes for the cover, but the ref is out. And of course, in typical Bloodline fashion, here comes Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa hits the ring. He's helping The Rock double team Cody Rhodes. Samoan spike to the throat. Rock lifts him up. Rock bottom. And he goes for the cover. The ref is still out of it. So The Rock is livid. He's telling the ringside announcer, bring out another ref. We're finishing this. But, as he's getting set up, as he's complaining, Seth Rollins is lurking in the corner, looking to set up The Rock for a major moment. Roman Reigns sees Seth lurking. So Roman goes through. He tries to intercept Seth Rollins to go for who's going for a curb stomp. He goes for the spear on Rollins. Rollins sidesteps. Roman Reigns spears The Rock. Whoa. The look on Roman's face, he doesn't know what's going on. He obviously didn't mean to do it. He's tending to The Rock. Curb stomp by Seth Rollins. Seth is trying to wake up Cody, who's obviously still out of it from the Samoan spike and all that. We finally get a ref running down. Seth Rollins is getting Cody up. He's coming to. The Rock is still laid out cold. Roman's still laid out cold. But he finally pulls Cody into the cover on The Rock. 1, 2, The Rock grabs the bottom rope for the rope break. Nobody was expecting it. Cody's beside himself. Seth is out of it. He tries to get Cody to rally, get him over into the corner so Seth can finish it. Cody eventually gets to the tag. Seth comes in. He's looking to set up the curb stomp on The Rock, but he was a step slow this time. Roman Reigns makes sure. Superman punch, off the ropes, spear. The Rock crawls into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Bloodline rules for the main event. And so that's what I have right now. I don't know what happens in the main event, but
Okay.
I think that I think there's going to be some trickery going down.
That was good. I like that. I like that as well. One thing I really liked about both of them is that neither of you had Seth turning on Cody, which I'm so glad that whole rumor has died down and it's not really, people don't see it as a feasible option anymore. I would hate it. It makes no sense. Because yes, Seth and Cody don't get along, but I really think Seth hates Roman way more than he hates Cody. And so I don't think that in any way Seth would help Roman or agree to help Roman. in any way, shape, or form of that nature. Would I be surprised if it happens? No, but what?
What are you talking about? Max did by not having Seth Rollins.
But that I'm talking like he hits Cody or he jumps out of a tag. I'm talking. Yes, he doesn't jump on the pin. That's fine. He still has Seth coming out tomorrow night. The next night. I'm talking
The Raw after
Seth,
WrestleMania.
Raw after WrestleMania. But still, I have I have Seth, or having Seth not turn on Cody, like physically hitting him or hitting Cody with a curb stomp and then walking out. Things like that. I'm glad to see that that's not happening.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. And the reason why I have Seth kind of sort of turning on Cody at night one, but not like officially, is partly because I feel like deep down Seth would want to be the one to take down Roman Reigns. And there's still that kind of jealousy in his character. But also turning him on night one would make zero sense because he has another match to go for WrestleMania weekend because he's still got to wrestle Drew McIntyre as the face in that situation. And so that's why you drop some hints on night one, but don't out and out reveal it. And then Raw after WrestleMania, Seth comes out, hey man, thank you for taking down the Bloodline. I'm proud of you. Low blows him, but there's just one problem. I want your title.
I completely misheard you in that sense. I thought that was Drew that does that, not Seth. My bad. I don't know why I heard Drew being the one to do that. I was like, that kind of makes sense, switching him from championship to championship, but I'll take it. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, because, that's what I thought. I thought you understood me initially, honestly, because, like, McIntyre becomes the heel champion of the World Heavyweight Champion.
I meant Seth
Cody
becoming the heel champion. But yes, okay. That makes so much more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
And then McIntyre can just be, like, a tweener leaning heel from that point forward as champion. I trust him.
Yeah.
Jayden, I will say, though, it is. I love the tag team match overall that you booked. Great stuff all around. Great storytelling overall. The one thing I didn't do is I didn't want to overbook the night one main event, if that makes any sense. I kind of wanted to save all the overbooking because having the Avengers assemble basically is like Attitude Era type overbooking of a main event. But like night one, even though like it's a main event of WrestleMania, that match I feel like its purpose is more to set the table than anything, which it'll still be a really good match, but it'll also leave you wanting to watch night two, especially with the finish of, oh no, it's Bloodline rules, anything goes. How can Cody get out of this jam? I feel like the tag team match is the appetizer to the entree. An expensive, very good appetizer, but an appetizer nonetheless.
I agree.
For sure.
I think that so if I were to, I'm not going to give you a full booking because I'm not good at that, but if I were to have been in charge of this match, I would have had it play out somewhat like a very watered down version. I would say Seth and Cody they're going at it, maybe a 10-15 minute match, because it bottoms down to it. Rock hasn't done this in forever. Roman's been a part-timer. You need him to be at as close to 100% ready to go for the next night's match as you possibly can. Yes, you need Cody and Seth ready for their match too. Seth's coming off an injury. I think Cody is going to take the brunt of the beating in that match just because he does it on a daily basis. He is the most healthy, so he can do it. But having two of them be guys that haven't wrestled in 10 years and is a part-timer who hasn't wrestled since Rumble, you can't have a long match there and then still confidently put out a high quality product the next night. So I see it being somewhat, not a squash match, but I see it being somewhat of a quick match. Everyone will get a blow, get their finisher in. There'll be a little brawl, but then I think ultimately Cody is going to be the one that needs to take that pin. You can't have Seth take it because he's champ. He can't take the pin before going into his championship match. And I think it has to. You can't have it be bloodline free. There has to be bloodline rules in that match. So it's got to be Cody that takes the pin. But that's how I would quickly book the match. Somewhat similar to your guys's.
I also, a couple of things that I forgot to mention initially. First of all, I despise the trope of there will be no interference in this match type stipulation, because that's basically just saying that this match will be determined by outside interference, even though there are rules explicitly stating there will be no interference. And also, the reason I made my match a tornado tag match is because I also am not a fan of tag matches, like traditional tag matches devolving into tornado tag matches. Like, just if there's that much hatred in character for each other, or real, depending on who's going against whom, if there's that much tenacity or like animosity as well, just let everybody fight everybody. There's no reason to have those restraints in place when eventually they're going to be broken. It's so ridiculous to me. Because then you lose track of who's tagged in and who isn't tagged in. Right. Whereas with like a tornado tag match, everybody goes, anything goes, everybody is legal to be pinned.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that.
Dakota, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I like both of your guys' fantasy bookings. I probably could have done it much better myself. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that can happen here. I do agree with Shane, though. I do think that this is going to be a quick match, probably 10 to 15 minutes max. I don't think that it will go 20, 25. Even more than 15. It's definitely not going to be a squash match at all. You know, like Shane said, they're going to get their blows in. You know, there's going to be a little bit of a brawl. But I do think that Cody, yeah, like Shane said, Cody is going to be the one to get pinned. I mean, it's just the way that it happens. It's not, you know, anything to do with like, oh, he's going to lose at Mania. I think we all know at this point that he's going to win the championship at Mania one way or another. But, you know, he has to be the one to get pinned in the tag match.
And I mean, like, you know, having, you know, 2 nights of WrestleMania definitely helps Cody's story a little bit more. But like, seeing the trope that he's on right now, I can't help but think back to WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan, and like it would be such like, I really hope that Cody wins, and 90% of my heart is saying that Cody's gonna win, but then again, last year 90% of my heart said Cody was gonna win and he lost, and so I can't latch on to the idea that Cody's winning because I fear that Hunter is gonna rip my soul out, but I just think it's going to be such a monumental occasion when, if Cody is to like pull it off on Sunday, like it would probably be the loudest reaction we've heard in a long time.
That was going to hit like crack.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, Shane, to answer your question from earlier, the reason why you didn't have Jay come out with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on last Friday night's episode was because you need Jey Uso to be fully invested in this match against Jimmy. You need his mind to be there, not with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on going into, you know, night one.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Also, I'm sorry I'm sorry that I'm eating and stuff. I haven't had anything to eat today. So people that are watching, don't think I'm just like not paying attention or anything. I've just had a very busy day and I didn't get a chance to eat, so I'm very starving.
No worries, man. And before we end this episode, I do want to play off of the Jimmy versus Jay WrestleMania match. I did see, I forgot who had posted it on Twitter, but somebody did their idea of what they think Jimmy and Jay should be, and I 100% agree with it. So I wanted to run this idea by you guys. I think that Jimmy and Jay needs to be an I Quit match. And the reasoning being is because this whole Bloodline saga started with the Jay Uso versus Roman Reigns I Quit match at Hell in a Cell. And of course, Jay became the right-hand man because of Roman choking out Jimmy. He gave up for Jimmy. So, like, seeing that come full circle 4 full years later to kind of put a bow on everything that the Bloodline era has been in wrestling, I think that that's the only way that this match can needs to happen. Because not only is this a match that, like, nobody ever dreamed of, but this is a match now with bigger implications than anyone ever thought it would have. And it's a match that I think really should open up either night 1 or night 2 because it needs to have that emotional impact from the minute WrestleMania starts. So what do you guys think about that idea?
Well, not to mention, we've had a brother versus brother match every 15 years at WrestleMania. And if I remember right, Owen Hart versus Bret Hart was an I Quit match. I know for a fact that Matt versus Jeff Hardy was an I Quit match. So it just makes sense to have Jimmy versus Jay an I Quit match as well.
That checks out to me.
I like it. I think it'd be awesome. Like, I think I posted something on social media saying that I thought Cody versus Roman should be an I Quit match. I just think there should be an I Quit match. I think I Quit matches are so cool.
Yeah.
I think they should always be used for the biggest feuds, the beefs, like the most intense, like, hatred beefs. It was awesome. I loved whenever John Cena was in an I Quit match because it was the whole never quit, never give up. It was awesome. I think they need to have an I Quit match, and I would not be upset if it's Jimmy versus Jay.
I would be perfectly fine with an I Quit match, but also I have another idea. Jimmy versus Jay, 3 stages of hell match.
Ooh. I like it.
And one of my main reasons is if WWE can put John Cena and Ryback in a 3 stages of hell match, why would they not put Jimmy Uso versus Jay Uso as a 3 stages of hell match? What 3 stages those are, it honestly doesn't matter. But I think Jimmy Jay in a 3 stages of hell match would be great, not just in terms of their ability, but in terms of the storytelling, because those two despise each other and they'd be willing to put each other through that kind of gauntlet. And also, I feel like 3 stages of hell is really underutilized.
Max, it's so funny that you bring up that John Cena and Ryback, the 3 stages of hell match, because that was literally the first WWE event that I attended live. My uncle lived in Chicago at the time, and he gave me that as a birthday gift, took me there and everything. That was my first ever live WWE show, and that was the main event. And I'll never forget it. So you bringing it up is just like, wow, I can't believe it. That's an insane pull. Shout out to Payback 2013, man.
That's awesome.
Just casually unlocking core memories here on the Creative Control Card podcast.
Absolutely. Well, in the tradition of the show, do you guys have any final hot takes before we call it an episode? Dacota?
Can't say that I do.
All good. Max?
I still think, and I've talked about AEW before, I think Christian Cage might be the best heel in the past 10 years across all of wrestling. Just the unbelievable extremes to which he has gone, just how next level evil he is, doxing Daniel Garcia's mom. Everything that he's done is just heel work that I never imagined anybody would do in this day and age. But turning Christian Cage heel against Jungle Boy, and not Luchasaurus, but against Jungle Boy, might go down as the best decision AEW ever made and the best decision of Christian Cage's entire career. Because without that heel turn, I don't think wrestling has the hate that's infused into it that we do right now. And naturally, genuine or extreme hatred for one another will draw people in. Because you can see that not just with Christian Cage, but in WWE with CM Punk returning and Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins both having a deep, burning hatred in their hearts for the guy. Because he left WWE and was not remotely graceful about it. So to see that kind of emotion put into it just makes wrestling so much more interesting to tune into as opposed to maybe 10 years ago.
For sure.
Yeah.
Any hot takes?
I do got one, actually. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I think if Seth doesn't win, I think there's a chance. I think there's actually a chance that Seth wins. I didn't think so up until recently, but I think there actually is a chance. But if he doesn't win, I think obviously Drew wins. And then Damian comes out and finally cashes in, finally wins the title. And that completely, because you've seen the slow deterioration of Drew into a heel. Him winning it and then having it taken away again will completely send him off of the rails. It'll be a cliff. He will snap and just it become the full Drew McIntyre heel. And I also think that Damian winning that, it's not going to be a long reign. I think Drew will win it off of him. They'll probably at Payback or something even. But it'll be because I think Judgment Day drops both titles. I think it'll be the beginning of the end of the Judgment Day because Damian will then place himself on another pedestal and then the rest of Judgment Day will get sick of it and they'll kick him out. Also, I think CM Punk might be a special guest referee. I think that'd be cool.
Dacota, I saw what you were mouthing.
What were you mouthing?
Drew
Broken Dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drew needs to come out to Broken Dreams at Mania. If he didn't come out to Broken Dreams at the Royal Rumble, which I'm so sad he didn't come out to Broken Dreams at the Rumble. I thought I had something going there. If he's got to come out to Broken Dreams at WrestleMania. And also, I feel like given how mishandled Damian Priest as Mr. Senor Money in the Bank has been, I think it would be perfectly in character for him to cash it on McIntyre, but fail spectacularly.
That's also true.
I could see that. I could see that happening too. I have a question more for you guys. I've seen this all over TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. Do you guys think there's a chance we get Homelander Cody?
Max,
would be interesting.
I've seen the WWE partner with some weirder shows, companies, things like that than The Boys.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would be kind of out of left field for Cody.
I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't know.
I would dig it.
Also, I have a big announcement to make since it's the end of the episode. For those of you who are still here, if you want somewhere to watch WrestleMania Night 1 and 2 on April 6th and 7th, it is 6th and 7th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the dates right. If you want a place to watch it not by yourself, Phantom Sports will be hosting a watch party on our Discord for both Night 1 and 2 It is completely free. Come in, you can hang out, watch it on your own, and just listen to the people talking. You can talk, give your reactions. It'll just be a great time. Hang out, have a good time, enjoy the matches, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I expect to see all three of you there, and I hope to see the rest of you guys there that are watching. So April 6th, 7th, night 1, night 2 of WrestleMania. I'm considering we might do Raw after Mania. Fingers crossed that it's a lot better than last year's was. Last year's was kind of a dud.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tune in, come join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another fantastic episode of the Creative Control Card Podcast. My name's Jayden. We're here with Max, Dacota, and Shane, and we will see you guys on our next stop on the road to WrestleMania.